Back. Well, I think we're off to a great start. We've got the first 2 weeks under our belt, and so far we've got a chance to start getting to know one another. I think you're doing a terrific job posting and interacting on Facebook, and now we've got individual partners going. And I'm now going to describe what we're going to be doing between now and the end of our time together officially, March 12th. So before I do that, though, I want to focus on the individual pairings that we now have. And by the way, everyone should be paired up now with another individual. I have 3 more students on this side. We still need to pair up, and I'll be doing that this weekend. But once we have that, that's really your opportunity to get to know one student in particular in depth. I encourage everyone to get to know as many people as possible, but at least with one, get to know them quite well. And the reason for that is, we always work better when we know each other. And for example, I'm a professor. I play secret agent man occasionally. But what you may not know is that I also play banjo. Now, I love the sound of banjo. I'm in a bluegrass band, and when I travel, I always try and find the instrument in that country that is most like the banjo. Well, when I went to India, I had a heck of a time trying to find an instrument that was like the banjo. But I did find one that I really love, and it's this right here. And I'm sure you recognize it. I got this in Jaipur from a community that makes these, and it's a beautiful sounding instrument. I may not play it beautifully, but I'm sure some of you do. But that's what I do, and this is one of the great things about getting started. Even though we're going to have tasks that we're trying to accomplish together, getting to know somebody is the first phase of being able to do that well. So I encourage you, as I've encouraged the students here, make this an important part of the work we do together, this getting to know one another. And with your individual pairing, that's your chance to really go in depth with somebody. So, talk with each other regularly. You all have been terrific about being quite active on Facebook. Share personal stuff, viewpoints, really, get to know, the quirks about each other, because I think those are the things that really help you start to understand somebody and then eventually understand someone's perspective. So this is what we're going to be doing in the between now and the quarter, is just this whole part about really getting to know each other. And I look forward to seeing how those go. The second thing I want to talk about now is really the global team assignments, because there's like 3 big ones that your team is going to be engaged in. And the first is to produce a paper on your social issue. And I'll give more details about what that should look like in a minute, but it'll be one that you co-produce together. The second is to give a final team presentation at the end where you talk about how things went with your working as a global team together, and that's where you'll also showcase your video that you'll produce. Each team will co-produce a video on your social issue, and I'll give you details about that as well in a moment. So let's talk about the team-produced paper first. So the first is you want to focus on your issue, poverty, human rights, or environment, whichever group you're in. And in that paper, you'll want to describe what's the core problem that you're most interested in, and what do you think is the core cause of that problem. So you'll want to start narrowing it down a little bit, because you'll have to take some aspect of that grand problem. And one way to bring that down into focus, a laser focus, is to identify how does that issue affect us locally, in Varanasi, in Seattle. And then to identify one way you, or maybe a group of you, or some people that you could potentially envision joining forces with, to try and make some positive impact on that issue. Just move the ball a little further down the line, to use a sports analogy. And then also, as part of this paper, compare and contrast then that local problem and idea of local solution in Varanasi and Seattle. If you were to take poverty, what aspect of poverty would you look at in Seattle and Varanasi that you care about, or students here care about? Is it the homeless on the street? Is it women with children who have been abused and are living in shelters, or some other aspect of poverty? So you choose, and then compare and contrast. And then, as you think about what could be possible solutions, think about how social media might be able to be used to help fuel having a bigger impact. Now, you're taking a big problem, you're trying to narrow it down, and you're only going to have 1,000 words or less in which to put down on paper after you've done the research in both areas and compare and contrast and put together. That's roughly a 2-page paper, single-spaced. So that's the kind of parameters we're looking at. And that's going to be due February 10th. Now, the students here have to do this as part of the course. And I hope that you will find it a benefit to you as well to be doing this together with some global colleagues and comparing and contrasting. So that's the first assignment. The second is to have each global team produce a video. Now, it's going to be a video that's only 3 minutes or less. So again, you don't have a lot of time, a lot of space in which to do it. So you're going to have to be really clear about what content you want to focus on. And I want to give you a few ideas now of what I'd like to see in that 3-minute video. Obviously, you'll want to focus on your social issue and collaborate on the content that you gather, the research, the production, and I would want you to produce it in this new tool called WeVideo that some of you have maybe taken a look at, and I produced my 2 videos on that. What's cool about it is that you can work on it out, so you can be putting stuff up, students here can put together, or just make some editing. There'll be some training videos
on how to use that. Then I want you to apply the principles for making compelling videos. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. And again, in making your video, I'd like the 3 minutes or less, I'd like you to take some aspect of your social issue that your team agrees on and compare and contrast and look at solutions and the local dimensions of that problem in both places. So it's really an extension of the paper that you did, only further narrow to say, this is how we're going to show this with images and tell a tale about it in 3 minutes. And to help narrow it further, think about the audience you're most interested in seeing your video. Who could you help persuade to your side of the cause? Or who most needs educated?
about this issue. So I want you to think about that before you develop the video, and then hopefully you can post that video, you can distribute that video to potential audiences that you think should see it. So it has a useful outcome, this video. And the third project is to do a team presentation, which is a live video conference
where your team gets up and you have 20 minutes to present to folks in your university and folks at our university about what you produced. You'll explain the problem, causes, and solutions, and some of that, hopefully a lot of that, happens in the video, and you might have some additional things you want to add. And then your presentation should also have a component where you're describing key learnings that you all got from this experience, key challenges that you ran into in working together as a global team. What did you learn about yourself and about this kind of teamwork that would be useful for us to know? So that's the three big assignments. And then just throughout this process, a few other things to know about. First, I really encourage you to get to know your individual partner and do that from now until the end. Second, schedule team Skype meetings as you need them between now and, over the next 3 weeks. We're not going to schedule a big class-to-class video conference now. Our next one will be on Wednesday, February 19th, where it'll be a check-in by the teams. I'll be checking in. Each team will get up and have a few minutes, and I'll be talking with you about how things are going and troubleshooting a little bit with you. Myself and Dr. Sering and Tenson. And there's two other things that will happen between now and the end of the time. One is I'm sending you links in this PowerPoint to 4 video trainings that you can use, and I'll send a 5th out next week that you can look at, watch, and it will help you and figure out how do you do good photography, good videography. How do you actually put the thing together? And how do you come up with a good story? So those will be videos that you can watch at your own leisure and then use that to keep making a better and better video. And then between now and February 3rd, I'd like you to identify at least one really good video that you saw. Again, 3 minutes or less that somebody else has already produced, and post it on Facebook. And you'll see that we'll have a place, and the students here will be doing the same. This way, we can start sharing good ideas of good videos. All right, that's the assignments. Now, I just want to say one more thing about Facebook interaction. I'm really pleased with what I see so far. It's better than what I've seen with other classes. You all particularly got in and started posting things about yourself and asking questions and getting into a deeper discussion about things like education and just how we make a better world. So it's been really good. One thing I've been coaching the students here on that you may find helpful too is sometimes you're stuck to know, what do I say besides, yeah, I like your post, or cool. And I think about this 4-point framework that helps me, and I think it's helped others that I've showed it to think about how you move to a deeper conversation when you're writing on a place like Facebook. So the first is, when somebody posts something, of course, you can thank them, recognize what they wrote. Second, offer some personal reaction to what was posted, where you might compare and contrast a little bit about the subject that they bring up. The third is to offer some new related content so that they have something now to respond to. Don't just say, oh, that's really cool, here's how I responded.
offer a third thing, some more information. And then the fourth is to then offer a related question to encourage engagement, further engagement. And if you do that, I think, in the places I've seen that, it deepens the conversation and you have more of it happen. For example, this morning I was just looking and I saw Dorji had posted something where he says, "Hi, Brittany, I like what you wrote." He starts talking about the languages that he can speak, the many languages he can speak, and then offering new information, which is, he says, French seems to me to be the hardest one to learn, and then poses a question. What do you think about that? Do you like learning other kinds of languages? So, a good example, and there's many more on here, of using this sort of 4-point framework, in this case, comes naturally maybe to Dorji to do that, but to use that 4-point framework to be able to have good kind of dialogue. All right, that's it. I'm going to go back to playing my banjo. I hope you all get right on this, start getting to know your individual partner, and I look forward to seeing more of what you all do. See you later.